Captain Zara Vex stood at the observation deck of the starship Crimson Dawn, watching the blue marble of Earth grow smaller in the viewport. Her fingers drummed against reinforced glass, each tap echoing her mounting frustration. 3 months. 3 whole months she had spent trying to convince the Terran Combat Federation that she deserved a shot at their precious championship title. And what did those pompous bureaucrats do? They laughed. Actually laughed. A woman from the outer colonies wants to challenge Marcus Kane. Director Phillips had wheezed between chuckles. Sweet girl, Kane hasn't lost a match in 7 years. He's the pride of Earth, the undefeated champion of human space. Maybe you should start with some local tournaments back on, where was it, Kepler Station? Zara's jaw had tightened then, just as it did now, remembering the condescension dripping from his voice. She had spent 15 years perfecting her combat skills, surviving battles that would have reduced Earth's pampered fighters to whimpering children. She had faced down plasma-wielding pirates, wrestled with gravity-enhanced death matches, and earned respect in every corner of human space except the one that mattered most. Captain, we're receiving an incoming transmission, called out her ship's AI, Nova. The synthetic voice carried just enough personality to feel human without being annoying. It's marked Priority 1 from Earth. Put it through, Zara replied, turning away from the viewport. She had a feeling she knew what this was about. The holographic projector flickered to life, revealing Director Phillips' smug face. His perfectly groomed mustache twitched with barely contained amusement. Miss Vex, I have some rather interesting news for you. Oh, this should be good, Zara muttered under her breath. Then louder, I'm listening. It seems our champion Marcus Kane caught wind of your little request. He found it quite entertaining. So entertaining, in fact, that he's agreed to face you in the ring. Phillips paused with dramatic effect, clearly savoring the moment. Of course, he's added some conditions to make things more interesting. Zara's eyebrows shot up. She hadn't expected Kane himself to respond, let alone agree to the match. What kind of conditions? Winner takes all. Your ship, your crew, everything you own goes to the victor. Kane seems to think you need to learn the price of challenging your betters. Philip's smile widened. He also insisted on making a public event. The match will be broadcast across all human colonies. He wants everyone to witness your educational experience. The silence stretched for several heartbeats. Zara could feel her crew's eyes on her from their stations around the bridge. Her engineer, Doc Brennan, was shaking his head frantically. Her pilot, Ray Santos, looked like he wanted to throw up. Even her combat instructor, the grizzled veteran Tank Morrison, seemed concerned. But Zara started to smile, then chuckle, then laugh outright. You find something amusing about losing everything you own? Phillips asked, his own smile faltering. Oh, Director Phillips, Zara said, wiping a tear from her eye. You have no idea what you've just set in motion. Tell your precious champion I accept his terms. All of them. Are you insane? Phillips sputtered. Do you understand what you're agreeing to? Perfectly. Zara's expression hardened, the laughter dying in her throat. Do you understand what your champion just walked into? The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Doc Brennan was the first to speak, his Irish accent thickening with stress. Captain, with all due respect, have you lost your bloody mind? Maybe, Zara admitted, settling into her command chair. Nova, set course for Earth. Maximum burn. Course laid in, Captain. The AI responded. Estimated arrival in 48 hours. Tank. Zara called out to her combat instructor. I want a full assessment of Kane's fighting style. Every match he's ever fought. Every technique he's ever used. Every weakness he's ever shown. I don't care if you have to hack into classified Federation databases. The old soldier nodded grimly. Already on it, Captain. But Zara, he paused, using her first name, which he rarely did. This Kane fellow, he's not just skilled. He's got enhancements. Military-grade stuff. Reflexes, strength, endurance, all boosted well beyond human normal. So do I, Zara replied simply. Ray Santos spun around in his pilot seat, his young face creased with worry. Captain, Those enhancements of yours, they're not exactly regulation either. If the Federation finds out about your Vanguard modifications, then I'll deal with that when it happens. Zara stood up, pacing across the bridge. Besides, they won't have time to investigate anything once I'm done with their golden boy. Doc Brennan pulled up a holographic display showing Marcus Kane's career statistics. The numbers were impressive, Zara had to admit. 47 victories, 0 defeats. Average match duration, for minutes, 32 seconds. Average recovery time for opponents, 6 weeks. Look at this, Tank said, highlighting specific moments from Kane's matches. He's got a signature move, calls it the Earthshaker. Combines his enhanced strength with a gravitational field manipulator. Creates a localized gravity well that immobilizes his opponent, then delivers a finishing blow. Clever, Zara mused, and completely illegal in standard combat sports. Not in Federation Championship matches, Doc corrected. They allow full enhancement usage. It's supposed to represent the pinnacle of human combat evolution. Human evolution? Zara repeated with a snort. Right, because there's nothing more evolved than cheating with technology. Nova's voice interrupted their strategy session. Captain, I'm detecting increased chatter on the galactic news networks. Word of your match with Kane is already spreading. Let me guess, Zara said dryly. They're taking bets on how quickly I'll be carried out on a stretcher? Actually, Nova replied with what sounded suspiciously like amusement. Current odds are 15-1 against you lasting more than 3 minutes. Ray let out a low whistle. 15-1? Those are some serious odds. Good thing I never was much of a gambler, Zara said. Tank, show me Kane's last match. I want to see this Earthshaker move in action. The hologram shifted to show Marcus Kane in the ring. He was everything the Federation propaganda machine claimed. Tall, perfectly muscled, with the kind of square-jawed good looks that played well on recruitment posters. His opponent, a massive fighter from the mining colonies, outweighed him by at least 50 pounds and had arms like tree trunks. The match lasted exactly 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Kane danced around his opponent for the first minute, letting the bigger man exhaust himself throwing powerful but clumsy punches. Then, just as the miner committed to a devastating right hook, Kane activated his gravity manipulator. The sudden shift in local gravity sent the miner stumbling forward, completely off balance. Kane's enhanced reflexes allowed him to sidestep the falling giant and deliver a precise strike to the base of the skull. The miner hit the ground like a sack of rocks and didn't get up. Textbook execution. Tank admitted grudgingly. The man knows how to fight. He knows how to win, Zara corrected. There's a difference. Doc Brennan pulled up medical reports from Kane's defeated opponents. Captain, you need to see this. 3 of his last 5 opponents required extensive reconstructive surgery. One of them, a fellow named Torres from Titan Station, still hasn't regained full motor function in his left arm. And the Federation allows this? Ray asked, horrified. They encourage it, Zara replied grimly. Kane represents everything Earth believes about itself. Superior, dominant, inevitable. Each victory reinforces their narrative that Earth is the rightful leader of human space. So what's our plan? Tank asked. Zara was quiet for a long moment, studying Kane's image on the hologram. The man was smiling at the camera, holding up his championship belt like a trophy. His eyes held the cold confidence of someone who had never truly been tested. Kane's enhancement package focuses on physical attributes, she said finally. Strength, speed, reflexes. All designed to overwhelm opponents through superior physical performance. And that's bad for us, how? Doc asked, because he's never faced someone who could match him physically and outthink him tactically. His whole fighting style is built on the assumption that he's the strongest, fastest person in the room. Take that away and what's left? Tank's weathered face split into a grin. A pretty boy who's never had to actually fight for his life. Exactly. Zara turned back to the viewport, watching the stars streak past as they accelerated toward Earth. Kane thinks he's challenging some desperate colonist looking for her 15 minutes of fame. He has no idea he just declared war on someone who spent her entire life preparing for this moment. Nova's voice filled the bridge again. Captain, I'm receiving multiple requests for interviews from news outlets across human space. How should I respond? Tell them I'll hold a press conference once we reach Earth. I want to make sure Kane and his handlers hear exactly what I have to say before we meet in the ring. Understood, Captain. As the Crimson Dawn continued its journey toward Earth, Zara began her mental preparations. She thought about all the times she'd been underestimated, dismissed, or ignored simply because she came from the outer colonies. She thought about the friends she'd lost in battles that Earth's military had deemed unworthy of support. She thought about every condescending smile, every dismissive laugh, every casual insult dressed up as friendly advice. By the time they reached Earth's orbital space, Zara Vex was no longer just a fighter looking for recognition. She had become something far more dangerous, a woman with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. The real question wasn't whether she could defeat Marcus Kane. The question was whether Kane would survive the education he was about to receive about the true cost of challenging someone who had earned everything she possessed through blood, sweat, and sheer determination. As Earth grew large in the viewport, Zara allowed herself one last smile before the storm. Kane had wanted a show for the entire galaxy to witness. She was about to give him exactly that, just not the kind of show he was expecting. The Colosseum Station orbited Earth like a gleaming monument to human arrogance, its transparent aluminum dome providing a perfect view of the planet below. Inside the massive arena, 50,000 spectators filled the seats, their voices creating a thunderous roar that vibrated through the station's superstructure. Holographic displays showed the crowd that billions more were watching across human space, making this the most viewed sporting event in recent history. Zara Vex stood in the fighter's preparation room, methodically checking her equipment. Unlike Kane's flashy championship gear, her outfit was purely functional. Reinforced combat suit, basic protection plating, and a pair of gravity boots that had seen her through more battles than she cared to count. The crowd's definitely not on your side, Ray observed, monitoring the arena's audio feeds. They're chanting Kane's name like he's already won. Let them chant, Zara replied, flexing her fingers to test the suit's responsiveness. Crowds change their tune pretty quickly once the blood starts flowing. Doc Brennan ran a final diagnostic on her enhancements. Vanguard modifications are running at peak efficiency. Reaction time is enhanced by 300%. Strength boosted to twice human normal, and your tactical processing core is fully integrated. You're as ready as you'll ever be. Remember, Tank added, Kane's used opponents who get intimidated by his reputation. Don't let him get inside your head with the psychological warfare. Through the room's speakers, they could hear the announcement echoing through the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, beings of all species across human space, welcome to the most anticipated championship match in Federation history. The crowd's roar intensified, making the walls vibrate. In the blue corner, weighing in at 235 pounds, standing 6 feet 4 inches tall, with a perfect record of 47 wins and 0 losses, the undisputed champion of human space, Marcus Kane. The cheering became deafening. Even through the thick walls of the preparation room, they could feel the station shaking from the crowd's enthusiasm. And in the red corner, the announcer continued, his voice carrying just a hint of skepticism. Weighing in at 160 pounds, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, representing the outer colony worlds of challenger Zara Vex. The crowd's response was noticeably different. Not hostile exactly, but certainly not enthusiastic. There was curiosity mixed with anticipation, like people watching a particularly elaborate form of suicide. Showtime, Zara said, heading for the door. The walk from the preparation room to the arena felt both endless and instantaneous. The corridor was lined with holographic displays showing highlights from Kane's career, devastating knockouts, victory celebrations, endorsement deals with major corporations. Each screen seemed to be asking the same question. What was she thinking? As she stepped into the arena proper, the noise hit her like a physical force. 50,000 voices, most of them calling for Kane, created a wall of sound that would have overwhelmed lesser fighters. Zara smiled grimly and kept walking. Marcus Kane was already in the ring, performing for the crowd like the showman he was. He looked exactly like his promotional materials. Perfect physique, perfect hair, perfect smile. His championship belt gleamed under the arena lights as he raised above his head, drawing fresh cheers from his adoring fans. But as Zara climbed to the ropes and entered the ring, something interesting happened. Kane's perfect smile faltered slightly as he got his first close look at his opponent. Whatever he had been expecting, it wasn't the woman standing across from him now. Where Kane radiated polished professionalism, Zara emanated something far more dangerous. Competence earned through survival. Her scars told stories that no amount of promotional material could fabricate. Her eyes held the steady gaze of someone who had looked death in the face and laughed. "Well, well," Kane said, his voice carrying clearly through the arena's audio pickups. "You're smaller than I expected. Are you sure you're in the right place?" The junior leagues are held in the smaller arena downstairs. The crowd laughed appreciatively at his joke. Zara didn't react at all, which seemed to unsettle Kane more than any angry response would have. Strong, silent type? Kane continued, circling her like a predator sizing up prey. "That's fine. You won't be silent for long." The referee, a cybernetically enhanced official whose reaction time made professional athletes look sluggish, called the fighters to the center of the ring. "This is a championship match under Federation combat rules. Full enhancement usage is permitted. Victory conditions are knockout, submission, or technical knockout as determined by the medical AI. Fighters, touch gloves and return to your corners." Kane extended his glove with exaggerated courtesy. As their gloves touched, he leaned in close enough that only she could hear him. "I'm going to enjoy breaking you in front of the entire galaxy. When you're lying on that medical table later, remember that you brought this on yourself." Zara looked up at him with complete calm. "Marcus," she said quietly, "you have absolutely no idea what you've gotten yourself into." The bell rang. Kane immediately went on the offensive, using his reach advantage to probe Zara's defenses with lightning-fast jabs. His enhanced speed was impressive, each punch arriving almost faster than human eyes could follow. The crowd cheered as he pressed his attack, backing Zara toward the ropes. But something was wrong. Zara wasn't just avoiding Kane's punches. She was making it look effortless. Where other opponents had been overwhelmed by his speed, she moved with fluid grace, slipping punches by mere inches and never appearing rushed or desperate. "What's wrong, Kane?" she asked conversationally, ducking under a particularly vicious right cross. "You're not hitting as hard as your highlight reel suggested." Kane's perfect composure cracked slightly. He was putting everything into these attacks, using his full enhanced capabilities. And this woman was talking to him like they were having tea. He stepped back and activated his gravity manipulator, the device humming to life with an ominous vibration. The air around Zara began to shimmer as the localized gravity field took effect. "Let's see you dodge when you can't move." Kane snarled, launching himself forward with his signature Earthshaker combination. What happened next would be analyzed by combat experts for years to come. Instead of being immobilized by the gravity field, Zara simply stepped sideways, moving through distorted space like it wasn't even there. Kane's devastating finishing move hit nothing but air, sending him stumbling past his target with all the grace of a falling tree. "Impossible," Kane gasped, spinning around to face her. "No one can move through a gravity well like that." "You're right," Zara agreed, her own enhancements beginning to show. Her movements became faster, more precise, almost predatory. No ordinary human could. But then again, I'm not exactly ordinary, am I? The crowd had gone quiet, sensing that something had fundamentally shifted in the match. This wasn't going according to script. Kane activated his gravity manipulator again, this time creating multiple fields to box Zara in. The power drain was enormous. Sweat began beading on his forehead as the device pushed beyond its normal parameters. "Clever," Zara acknowledged, seemingly trapped in the center of overlapping gravity wells. "But you're thinking too small." She crouched down and placed her palm flat against the ring surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire ring began to vibrate with harmonic frequency. "What are you doing?" Kane demanded. "Physics lesson," Zara replied. "Every artificial gravity system has a resonance frequency. Find the right harmonic, apply the right pressure, and..." The gravity manipulators overloaded simultaneously, their circuits fried by the precise harmonic interference Zara had generated. The sudden failure sent Kane staggering. his balance completely disrupted by the unexpected loss of his primary weapon. "Time for class to begin," Zara said. She moved like lightning, but not the flashy, obvious speed that Kane had been displaying. This was a fluid, efficient motion of someone who had learned to fight in environments where wasted energy meant death. Her first strike caught Kane in the solar plexus, doubling him over. Her second, a precise uppercut, straightened him back up and sent him reeling. "Lesson 1, she said, following up with a combination that left Kane's perfect features considerably less perfect. "Never assume your opponent is using the same toys you are." Kane tried to respond, his enhanced reflexes finally kicking in, but Zara was no longer where his enhanced senses told him she should be. She moved like smoke, always one step ahead of his attacks, always exactly where she needed to be to make him pay for every mistake. "Lesson 2, she continued, driving an elbow into his ribs with surgical precision. "Reputation means nothing when you're actually fighting for your life." The crowd was on its feet now, no longer cheering for their champion, but simply staring in stunned silence at the systematic dismantling taking place in the ring. Kane, the undefeated pride of Earth, was being taken apart piece by piece by a woman half his size. "This isn't possible." Kane gasped, blood streaming from his nose. "My enhancements, my training, my record." "Your record," Zara said, catching him with a perfectly timed counterpunch that sent him sprawling, "was built on fighting pampered Earth boys who learn combat in safe, regulated environments. You've never faced someone who grew up fighting for survival." Kane struggled to his feet, his enhanced body already beginning to heal the damage. But there was something different in his eyes now. The cold confidence was gone, replaced by something he had never experienced before in the ring. Fear. "You want to know the difference between us, Marcus?" Zara asked, advancing on him with predatory calm. "You fight to win matches. I fight to stay alive. And right now, you're just another obstacle between me and what I came here to take." The final exchange lasted less than 10 seconds. Kane, desperate now, threw everything he had left into one last desperate assault. Zara simply smiled, sidestepped his wild swing, and delivered a strike that every person in the arena felt in their bones. Marcus Kane, the undefeated champion of human space, hit the canvas like a broken doll and did not get up. The arena was so quiet that the sound of the medical team's footsteps echoed like gunshots. 50,000 people sat in stunned silence as Zara Vex stood over the fallen champion, not even breathing hard. The referee, his cybernetic components still processing what he had witnessed, raised Zara's hand. Winner by knockout and new champion of human space, Zara Vex. The crowd exploded, not in celebration or despair, but in pure shock at witnessing something that should have been impossible. The woman from the outer colonies had not just defeated their champion, she had made it look easy. As the medical team carried Kane out on a stretcher, Zara picked up the championship belt he had worn so proudly just minutes before. She held it up, not in triumph, but in simple acknowledgement of a job completed. "Ladies and gentlemen of human space," she said into the microphone the referee offered her, her voice carrying clearly through the stunned arena, "let me introduce myself properly. My name is Zara Vex, former Vanguard Special Operations, survivor of the Kepler Rebellion, veteran of 43 combat deployments in hostile territory, and as of today, your new champion." The silence stretched for several heartbeats. Then, slowly, the applause began. Not the manufactured enthusiasm they had shown Kane, but the genuine respect that warriors give to someone who has proven themselves in battle. "To those watching from Earth," Zara continued, "let this be a lesson. The colonies you've dismissed, the people you've underestimated, the warriors you ignored were not going anywhere. And we're done asking for your respect. From now on, we're going to take it." She dropped the microphone and walked out of the ring, leaving behind a galaxy that would never quite see the outer colonies the same way again. Marcus Kane would recover eventually. His pride, however, would take considerably longer to heal. And somewhere in the depths of space, other champions from other worlds were watching the recordings of this match and beginning to wonder if maybe, just maybe, it was time for the established order to face some new challenges. But that, as they say, is another story entirely.